MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 1. Clothes have always been carriers of meaning and key resources for identity work, but their role as resources for identity work varies across age lines. Whereas the older women typically make fewer excursions to the shops and have in mind aims and objectives when they do and do not enjoy being distracted, younger women are more likely to view shopping as a leisure time pursuit, more likely to visit a shop with no specific purchase in mind. The clothing purchases of older women are more likely to be linked to specific needs, professional and social, or to their household budgets. For these women, identity will be further removed, than for younger women, from how they look and its significance. It will be linked to matters such as professional standing, children, social roles, and obligations. By contrast, younger women purchase things that help them expand their self-perceived identities and images. Entities far more complex than clothes are being tried on in the changing rooms, where a dress becomes something that fits or may be grown into in a symbolic as well as a physical sense. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 2. Songwriter can be a useful way to reflect verbally and musically on emotional topics in depth. The popularity of songs among adolescents and the structure songs provide make it easy for young people to relate to this idea. There are many approaches to therapeutic songwriter that offer structure without becoming inflexible. In the first step, the therapist and adolescent talk about possible topics and ideas and then decide on one. As they have already worked on emotions and emotional events in earlier therapy sessions, there is material available for development through this new intervention. Different possibilities are available for writing lyrics, such as using pre-composed lyrics or inventing new ones while playing and chatting. Sometimes adolescents bring prepared material based on poetry they have written at home or have created as schoolwork. Similarly, the music may be either based on melodies they already know or invented while improvising. The accompaniment is usually provided by the therapist, who follows the instructions of the adolescents concerning musical parameters. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 3. Conditions on the small Galapagos island of Daphne Major during 1976–1977 caused a drought that prevented reproduction by most plants. 1976–1977 Daphne Major. During this period, the resident population of medium ground finches rapidly depleted available seeds from the environment and many individuals starved to death, resulting in a population size decrease of about 85%. 85%. The depletion of seeds was non-random because all the finches can consume small/soft seeds whereas only finches with large beaks can consume large/hard seeds. As the drought progressed, the seed distribution therefore became increasingly biased toward larger/harder seeds, and the mortality of the finches became size selective. Birds with larger beaks were more likely to survive, resulting in directional selection for larger beaks. When the rains commenced in 1978, the finches that had survived to breed were those whose beaks were larger, on average, than the population before the drought. 1978. Beak size is highly heritable and, hence, the generation of birds produced after the drought had larger beak sizes than the generation of birds produced before the drought. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 4. Actor Peter Sellers left the filming of the James Bond film Casino Royale after a fight with the studio head. Peter Sellers' James Bond Casino Royale. Despite playing the lead character, Edward Norton, after quarreling with Marvel Studios over how the story of the Incredible Hulk should be told on screen, embarked on a month-long trip to Africa rather than participating in the promotion of the film. Edward Norton, The Incredible Hulk, Marvel Studios. And numerous artists have released music tracks that make it more or less clear to their listeners that the songs exist only for contractual reasons. slash threatened slash and slash the slash theme slash felt slash in slash that slash was slash such slash underlying slashes slash creative slash conflicts slash freedom slash integrity slash their slash artistic slash that. And make no mistake about how deeply artists care about their work, about the originality of the ideas and compositions, the technical skills and their execution, and the artistic achievement that finally results from the creative act. Often the creatives are driven by a desire for the art itself, rather than any economic interest. Their reward is derived from the aesthetic or cultural value of the product. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 5-7. A long time ago, there lived a trader. He owned 5 camels, which he used to carry goods to far-off cities for trading purposes. One day, the trader was returning to his hometown after making some important business deals. As it was late, he decided to spend the night at an inn. I must tie the camels to this tree outside the inn, he thought. As he did not have much rope, he could tie only 4 camels. What will I do now? The trader cried. Finally, he decided to enter the inn and request the owner for some help. What's the matter? A fakir sitting outside the entrance asked. The trader replied, I have managed to tie 4 out of 5 camels to the tree. But I am short of rope for the 5th one. Ha ha ha. The fakir laughed. So, what will you do now? He asked. I will talk to the owner of this inn. He may provide me with some rope, the trader replied. The fakir said, there's no need to meet the owner. Go and tie the camel to the tree. But how? He asked. Just as you tied the other 4 camels, the fakir said. But what about the rope? He inquired. You don't need a rope. Use an imaginary rope and tie the camel just as you do daily, the fakir suggested. The trader did as he had instructed. The trader acted as if there were a rope in his hand and pretended to tie a knot around the camel's neck. Then he pretended to tie the camel to the tree. He was surprised to see the camel obeying him. Thank God! The trader said happily and went inside the inn. Next morning, he went to the tree and untied all the camels except the 5th one, which was tied with an imaginary rope. All camels walked out of the compound except the 5th one. The trader gave signals to the camel to move, but it didn't adhere to his instructions. The trader tried his best to move the camel from its place. But the camel didn't move an inch. At last, the trader lost his cool. He shouted, "You fool! Why don't you just get up and go?" "What's the matter?" the fakir asked. "It is not ready to leave this place," the trader replied. "Don't you remember, you tied it to the tree with an imaginary rope," the fakir said. "So?" the trader asked. "You were worried about tying the camel. Did it leave you?" the fakir asked. "No. But you know that I have used an imaginary rope to tie it." "It was just an act," the trader explained. "So try and act again. Pretend to untie the rope and see the camel leaving the place," the fakir said. The trader did as directed and the camel got up and started moving around. After watching that, the fakir left the place. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 8. The idea that writing expresses and shares meaning to be reconstructed by the reader can be troublesome because there is a tension between the expression of meaning and the sharing of it. Often, we view our expressions as deeply personal, arising from inmost impulses. We may not be sure others will respond well to our thoughts or will evaluate us and our words favorably. Therefore, every expression shared contains risk and can evoke anxiety. Writers often hesitate to share what they have expressed and may even keep private texts they consider most meaningful. Further, writers may resist the idea that their texts convey to readers something different than what the writers intended. Feedback from readers indicating that the writer's works do not convey all the writer hoped is not always welcomed. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 9. After puberty, melatonin starts to be produced later at night, which is why many teenagers don't feel sleepy until much later in the evening. It is also the reason why they struggle to get up in the morning, unlike younger children, who are super alert early in the morning and ready to sleep early in the evening. Forcing teenagers to go to school early in the morning, when according to their body clock they should still be asleep, is depriving them of sleep, and we know that sleep deprivation inhibits learning and lowers mood. Being forced to wake up early each morning during the week also results in what is called social jet lag as teenagers catch up on sleep at weekends, often sleeping until past midday. This is like going to a different time zone every weekend, and is probably as disorientating as jet lag. Many researchers have suggested, therefore, that school start times should be later for teenagers, to be more in line with their circadian rhythms. 2-4. This might both improve learning and motivation, and result in happier individuals. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 10. Although it might seem commonsensical today to say that energy plays a central role within the economy, most economists do not include energy in their models of economic growth. According to some economists, raw materials, including energy, played virtually no determining role in the development of the economy. We can take as an important example Robert Solow, who claimed in 1974 that actually the economy can progress without natural resources. Robert Solow, 1974. Growth depended and continues to depend on knowledge, technical progress, and capital. The contribution of natural resources to past and present growth has been almost non-existent, in their view. The supply of energy and resources has always simply followed the demand generated by new forms of knowledge and techniques and has never played a constraining role in the economy. The implication is that energy resources have never exercised any significant restraint on growth, or shaped its course. Equally, and quite optimistically, this implies that future energy transitions, whether necessitated by the imperative to mitigate climate change and pollution, or combat rising relative prices of fossil fuels, are unlikely to impose major costs on the economy. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 11. In the 1930s, in the midst of the Great Depression, the U.S. government introduced the Agricultural Adjustment Acts to redress the overproduction in agriculture and raise farm incomes. 1930. The mechanisms for doing so included providing price supports for agricultural products and controlling production by having farmers commit to not exceeding acreage limits. In their thorough analysis of these policies, Winders and Nibbert conclude that, while these acts were successful in improving farm incomes, they stimulated further production instead of controlling it. Winders-Nibbert. This unintended consequence occurred because the policies limited the amount of acreage that could be used for production, but not the amount of the product that they could produce. Farmers therefore intensified production on the amount of land they were able to use so that they could capitalize on the artificially inflated price of what they produced. The strategy was to produce more animals on less land. These policies therefore further accelerated industrialization in the industry. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. EBS 9 Exercise 12-14. I started kindergarten the year our family settled in Clear Lake, and speaking only Spanish, I faced a world totally unfamiliar to me. Clear Lake. My mother also only spoke Spanish, which made it difficult for the teachers and administration to discuss my learning needs with her. I was passed from grade to grade, not really learning anything. By the time I finished third grade, I still did not have a grasp of the English language. 3. I reluctantly began 4th grade, when I was introduced to Ms. Olson. 4. Olson. She had little time during class for individual attention, as she had a classroom of students who also needed to learn, but she saw something in me. She came to our house to speak with my mother to ask if I could stay after school to work on my English and schoolwork. I still do not understand how that conversation took place, as my mother did not speak English and Ms. Olson did not speak Spanish, but Ms. Olson had so much patience that my mother must have understood the meaning, or perhaps the sincerity, behind her words. Olson, Olson. When I worked hard, Ms. Olson rewarded me with a friendly smile and a gentle touch. Olson. My alone time with her made me feel important. She made me feel like I was on equal footing with the other students and that I could be successful in school. At home, my mother quizzed me with spelling words and helped me in math. Mother would often read, to the best of her ability, the questions I wrote for her to ask. As busy as she was, she never said no when I asked for help. Thanks to my mother and Ms. Olson, I had learned enough English to be able to participate in a spelling bee. Olson. And I won. I won a beanie hat, something that wouldn't mean much today, but was priceless to me at the time. Naturally, Ms. Olson was pleased with my progress and proud of my accomplishments. Olson. Ms. Olson taught me the importance of hard work. Olson. She helped me believe in myself and helped me focus on the task at hand. She taught me that every teacher has the opportunity to make a huge difference in a student's life. MTC. Good job.